Hello and welcome to another tutorial from MoICT. In this tutorial we're going to be making a Save the Eggs item drop down game in Visual Studio with Windows Form and C#. So just take a look at the game. So in this game eggs are coming down towards the player, and then you're supposed to save them with the character, so you can press left and right buttons to actually move the character around. If the egg falls, it leaves a little mark on there for the splash image. So if you miss more than five eggs, then the game ends, and then we have to we have to click OK to start again. Okay. You also have a quirk where if you score more than 15, then the eggs will start speeding up, coming downwards. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to be making this game from scratch. So I'm just going to open a new Visual Studio. Let's make a new project. Make sure you pick the Windows Form application.net framework. Click next. Save. Okay, save the X game MoICT. Okay, so this is the game template. First, let's change the size of the form. So we change it to 630 by 740. So 630 is the width, 740 is the height. Let's go for background, so we can actually put the numbers in for the color that we want. So 255, 192 and 128. Okay, so it gives us a little light orangey color. Let's change the title to okay, with the title changed. Now let's add a few picture boxes that we need for this game. So let's add the first one. I'm just going to hold control and drag this so I can make a couple of copies of this. So here I've got 3 picture boxes, and then I can move one down here for the player. So this one we can change the name to player. Select these 3 picture boxes, come back here and type in eggs for the tag. Okay, we're not going to worry about the size just yet. So let's go and add a label here. Say score 0. Let's change the font size to bold 14. Okay, I'm just going to hold control and move that over here, so I can make one that says missed. Okay, so there you go, you got your score, get your missed. Then we need to change the name of the scored one to txt score and txt miss. Okay, so now it's time to import the pictures. If you right click on one of the picture boxes and go to choose image, I can go to downloads. So what I've done is I've downloaded the pictures from the Save the Eggs tutorial. If you want to do the same, you can go to the link in the description and you can just download the game assets from here. So it's got all the pictures for the eggs, the splash and the chicken inside of it. Okay, so in here you have got the chicken herd image, which is the red one. You get the chicken normal facing right, chicken normal 2 facing left, egg and the splash. Okay, so if I select all, click open, and then just choose the egg for this one. So I'll go and select both of them, so it actually reduces my work a little bit. So if I go to image inside the properties, just choose egg, select all 3 again. Let's go to size mode, change size mode to stretch image, and then change that to say 40 by 60. Oh, that's a bit too long, so 40 by 50. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so and then we can change the chicken. So we're just going to keep it as chicken normal here. Okay, let's go to size mode, say stretch image again, and then in this one for the chicken, let's change the size to say 85 by 80. So slightly bigger. So just gonna move it up a little bit so we can see better. So this way it's proportionate to how the picture is, but it's not too big. Okay, the splash image that we're gonna use, that's gonna be coded into the game, and then I'll show you guys later how to actually include that. So right now we've got all the images that we need. Okay, so we need one more thing, the timer. So the timer is the main component that actually makes this game work. So let's name this one game timer, set the interval to 20, change, we can change the enable to true for now. So now if you go to the events window and then type in main game timer event, press enter, this should add the main game timer event inside the C# script. So we also need two more events for the key down and key up. So type in key is down, and then for the key up, let's type in key is up. So these two events are linked to the form. So what I did was I clicked on the form, and then if you go to the events window next to the properties, you can add the key is down and key is up, and then the other one is linked to the timer. So the components can have the individual events linked to them, but this game only requires us to have the key is down, key is up, and the main game timer for event. Okay, so right here, if we go and start by adding our own function, so we do need a restart game function. Now let's go and add the variables that we need. So boolean, so we need two booleans. We need for go left and for go right. Okay, so int speed 8. Make another integer for score. Right, we need another integer for list. So what we're doing here is we're creating a new random number generator for the x value, and then a random number generator for that y value. Let's make a new picture box. Let's call this one splash. Okay, we're going to link this picture box to that splash image that we imported earlier. Okay, so I think first thing first is the restart function. So let's do it for each loop, where we look for all the eggs in the form first. So if we go to control, okay, so go look for, say, x is picture box, and just do a casting for a string, say x dot tag. So what we're doing here is running a for each loop to check for these ones here, because they have got a tag called eggs attached to them. So once we do find them, this is when we're going to be randomly positioning them off the screen. So that way it looks like they are, dynamically changing when the game starts. So we can say here x dot top is equals to y. So let's go to 80 by, say, 300, and then next, forgot that. So 80 by 300, and then say times -1. So that way whatever number it generates, it always generates a positive number. So whatever number it generates, we're just going to multiply it by -1. So that way whenever whatever number is generated, say for example if it's 80, it should come up to here, and then it'll go to -80, so it'll go over there. So then the timer will bring it down towards the player. Okay, so and then you got x dot left, which is the x value. Okay, so inside of here we can say 5. Okay, So we want to dynamically position it between two numbers in there. So what we're doing is we're giving it a minimum of 5, so it's always inside the scene from the left, and the way to make sure you're always inside the scene from the right is so we tell it to calculate the scene width minus the width of each individual eggs. Okay, so that would do that for each loop. So let's position the chicken on the scene. Do we not name him? Oh, we named him player. So player to the left equals width divided by 2. So it's positioned right in the middle of the game. And then we can say player.image so chicken normal, so it's facing right. Okay, so it's going to load this one up as a default for the player. Right, so in here we can say score is equal to 0, mist is equal to 0, speed is equal to 8. Okay, go left is equals to false. And then game timer start. Okay, that's it for the restart function. So we just need to load it up when the game actually loads up. So this is the constructor. We're just going to link inside the constructor. So whenever this function loads, it will load up the game reset function as well. All right, let's go to the key up and key down. So if then we say go left is equals to true. Say go right to true. Okay. So if the left key or the right key is being pressed, we're going to be changing go left or go right boolean to true. So I can just copy and paste into the key up. So instead of true, this is going to be changing it back to false. So as soon as the keys are released, either the left or right key is released, we're going to change those respective booleans back to false again. Okay. Alright, so we can get started on our main timer now. So first thing first is we're going to link the score and the mist text to the right booleans, right? So right variables. So say score. You can also put down saved as well. I think we'll put down saved. Saved would be better. Yeah, saved, and then say score right here. So if we go back here and then change that to saved, there's a little confusion there. Okay, txt miss. We're going to be moving the chicken left and right onto the scene, right? So if we go here and say go left, so if go left is equals true, and we want to make sure like player.left is still greater than 0, so player is still inside the form from the left. So let's say for example player.left is same minus equals 12. So we'll give you a speed of 12 for now. So chicken again. Player now image is equals properties the resources dot chicken normal 2, because it's going to be moving left, so we want to attach this image to it so it's facing left. Okay, so if we do if again, say go right is equals true, and player.left is player.left plus player.width is less than this dot client size dot width. So it's still inside of the form from the right hand side. In that case, we're going to be adding 12. to the left side of the chicken, so it's able to move right. Okay, and then obviously once again so in this case we're going to be facing it back to normal again. So if we were to run this now and see how it works, so the eggs are not there. I can move to the right, oh sorry, to the left, and then I can move to the right as well. So I can move there and it stops right there, and when I come back here it still stops right here as well. Okay, and the eggs would have been moved to the top because we haven't told it what to do yet, so it can't do anything. So we're gonna need a for each loop. So inside of there we're gonna check for controls, X in this control. So it's the same loop that we have run in the game reset function, but inside of the timer is going to tick every 20 milliseconds. So it's going to be active a lot more than the one that's inside the game reset function. Okay, so let's look for if X is picture box and look for the string eggs. Alright, so if X is a picture box and it has got a string called eggs, then we're going to be adding some speed to the X's top. So X top is going to be plus equals speed. Okay, so we're going to be pushing the egg down. So if we run this now and let's take a look. So see, they are coming down, so I can't really interact with them yet and they don't repeat, but you know, once we know that they are coming down, then we can sort of work around them. Okay, so now inside of here we're going to see if, right, so x dot top plus x dot height is greater than this dot client size dot height. Okay, so if the x has left the scene, right, from the bottom basically, so that's the height of it. Okay, if it has, then what we can do is we can say x dot top equals, that's the top, so it's going to have to be the y dot next. Okay, so the next is going to be about 80 and 300, and as you guessed it, is we're going to do that times, multiply that by -1. Okay, and then x dot left, leave left equals run x next. Okay, so we are doing the similar thing as we did in the game reset function. So in this case, let's just take a look at how this works. So if the x has left the scene from the top, then what we can do is we are going to be able to reset the x back to the top, so they come down separately. Okay. Alright, nice. So let's code in the splash. So without the splash, it kind of doesn't look right. Okay, so say splash, because we already create a picture instance of a picture box called splash over here, we can use that to sort of call that over here, right? So say splash here. Okay, so let's time, no, it's not time, splash the image. Splash. Okay, and then obviously you can say splash dot location. Okay, so the splash is going to be in the exact same spot as the x. Splash dot height, we set that to say about 60, and splash dot width, set it to another 60. Okay. So we're just going to give it like a transparent background. Although it's it's a transparent image, but we just wanted to match the background color of the theme instead of just being white or any other color. Now let's add this to the form. So say this dot controls dot add, right? So right here goes splash, so we can add the splash right in there. In the bottom here we're gonna say missed, we can say plus equals 1, because you would have missed a egg at this point if that shows up. And then obviously we're going to have to change the player to hurt image to chicken hurt. Alright, so it just becomes red whenever we miss an egg. So if you take a look at that, so see the way the chicken becomes red, and then you can also see the splash, right? So we only want to see the splash of the last one on the ground. Okay, so the missed variable is being updated. Okay, that is excellent. So now what we can do is, okay, so now let's program the bit where when the chicken actually catches the eggs. So if say player intersect with x dot bounds. Now remember, we are still inside that if statement that's saying if x is a picture box and it's got a tag of egg. Okay, so and if we do, then I can just take these two here. So if we do interact with it, we're still going to be moving the eggs back, but instead of adding one to the missed, we are going to add one to the score. Let's run this now and let's find out what happens. So if I catch all three of these, see, I caught 3, now I caught 6. Okay, I'm going to catch the last one. Okay, so that did update. Now what we need to do is we need to change, add some game specific rules inside the timer. So for example, when should the game be over and when should we speed up the eggs. Alright, so what we need to do is we can get out of the for each loop now. So if I get rid of some of these spaces, okay, so if I get out of the for each loop, so I'm still inside the function but I'm outside the for each loop. So outside of here, if I say if now score is, let's say, greater than 10, right, so I can add the speed to 12, right, so just to give it a sort of a check. So if I go back here and collect 10 eggs, okay, alright, so see, it did speed up a little bit. Okay, you can do it periodically as well. So if you can say, you know, if score is equals or equals to or greater than 10, you can set it one speed, and then if it's equals to and greater than 20, you can set it to another speed, and so on. So it makes the game a little bit harder without sort of, you know, just jumping into one speed right at the end. So we're going to go here and say if missed is, let's say, greater than 5, right? So in this case we'll stop the game timer. Okay, and then we will show a end message for the player. So say message box dot show, right, instead of here say game over. So let's just say we've lost good eggs, and then we're gonna go and do a new line after that as well, and instead of here say click OK to retry. Okay, and right after that we're gonna do the restart function. Okay, so whenever the message box appears, the code will stop here, so unless the button is OK is clicked, and then right after it's OK is clicked, it will run this line here. Okay, let me just show you how that works. So I'm just gonna go miss a few of these. Okay, excellent. So it says here game over, we've lost good eggs, and then click OK to retry. So now when I click OK, everything goes back to normal again, so I can move around. Okay, collect eggs, and it should speed up as well when I hit 10. Okay, so when I hit 10, it speed up. Okay, so that's it really. It's been a very simple tutorial on how to make a save the eggs item drop down game. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this one, and I will see you on the next one.